Jay here from Stretford, Paddock, and this is Paddock Live. We've gone live at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we've got a bit of breaking news, Joe. That's Joe Smith, by the way, and I'm Jay Mott, in case you're wondering.
You know what they say about transfers, Jay? They're like buses, mate.
What, they're never on time and they always let you down and people always smoking weed on the top.
No, none come for ages and then 2 come at once. Look at this!
Hey, this morning we were sat here just before about 10 o'clock going, what's going to happen with De Jong? Is there ever going to be any movement or what?
Yeah.
And then Sky dropped some bombs going, boom, deal agreed, broad deal agreed, or whatever it was.
And then after
deal
that,
broadly agreed, I think was the term that Sky News used. We like, okay, happy days. And then my phone starts buzzing.
Yeah.
You start buzzing.
Yeah. It's just been an absolute avalanche all day.
An avalanche.
An absolute avalanche of news.
Yeah, it is live this. Get involved in the chat and the comments and we'll go through. Obviously, there's Frenkie De Jong and there's the kid.
We've got Christian Eriksen updates as well. But
Tyrell Malacia.
He's come out of nowhere.
Yeah, because this is the kid from Feyenoord, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, left back from Feyenoord. Looked like Leon were in for him. United were linked with him a few weeks ago. It looked like we'd missed out on him. But we've hijacked the deal.
We supposedly hijacked the deal. So let's go through the day and get to what I like to call now at the end. Right.
Okay.
So this morning, Sky Sports come out. Sky Sports, who have lost some of their luster in terms of transfer reliability in recent seasons. Apparently, a lot of their older sources and reporters have gone to TalkSport, which is why now when you see TalkSport sources, they're actually very reliable when they used to just be the Metro.
I refuse.
Yeah, you refuse to believe that. Well, it is. You're wrong. And therefore, some of Sky's reliability has been sort of questioned in recent years. Do you remember when they said Gundogan was coming to Man United about 5-6 years ago?
Yeah.
He didn't. However, since then, we've seen BBC, we've seen Simon Stone, we've seen Simon Peach, we've seen Fabrizio Romano, we've seen Rob Dawson, we've seen Laurie Whitwell, we've seen every single, Howard Nurse, every single one of the most sort of respected and reputable journalists and outlets basically saying that this deal is done for Frenkie De Jong. The fee is finally agreed. £56 million, rising up to around £70 million with add-ons, Wonga, cash.
Bunsen burner.
Nice little earner, this one, Jay, for Barcelona. So they're talking, they wanted 80 million euros. Apparently, United weren't willing to go with that up front. So this is Julian Lorenz, I think, or I believe it's him anyway, saying Barcelona sources admit they're close to reaching an agreement with United for the transfer of Frenkie De Jong. Barca wanted 100 between fixed and variable, so that they wanted it to rise up to 100 million euros. It will not arrive between 80 and 85 million euros. Barcelona drowned by the economic situation, and they are forced to get rid of Frenkie De Jong. So it looks like our patience, our sort of chess games, the old 4D Murtaugh chess, is paying off to a certain degree. Obviously, we've been pulling our hair out for the last few weeks.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, definitely. You can tell.
You've been pulling your pubes out, haven't you?
Yeah,
in a fit
you
of
can
pique.
see. Nah.
But it looks like United have actually got him for a decent fee, don't it? Like 65 million euros, 56 million quid. That's good money, isn't it? That's a good transfer fee, especially when you consider some of the other deals that have been done, like Darwin Núñez jumps to mind.
Yeah.
80 million, and realistically, that's going to be 90 million without him having to really do anything. Almost half of that for Frenkie De Jong is pretty good, isn't it?
Obviously the Scouts have had the pants pulled down, haven't they?
Yeah.
Let's have it right.
Once again.
Darwin Núñez, he's rubbish.
And again, Tchouaméni is someone who's like massively, everyone loves him.
Yeah.
He's the next up-and-coming player. He's Camavinga 2.0.
Yeah.
He was 100 million euros, Jay.
Yeah.
And he plays in the same position as Frenkie De Jong. I know he's not the same type of player, but Frenkie De Jong is so much more established, so much more of a proven player. And we're getting him for 65 million, 56 million quid. That's just a bit more than we paid for Fred.
I mean, well, there you go then. Exactly.
Are you happy with Frenkie De Jong?
I'm just not happy with the fact we're making deals and signing players.
Well,
I don't want that. I want rumours and that.
You like rumours, don't you?
Yeah, rumours are all good and exciting. And, signings just let you down.
Yeah,
you just get all excited. He's like, oh, yeah. Remember when we had the rumours about Jadon Sancho for 2 years?
Yeah.
It was mint that, wasn't it? And then we bought him and everyone was like, when's he going to start scoring goals and doing what he was doing?
Don't worry about that. Let's get a new one. Don't worry about Jadon Sancho scoring goals. Worry about Anthony scoring goals. Because that's the thing.
I just want rumours, man. That's all. Just give me
Players
rumours, never mind signings.
Yeah, players that don't play for Man United can't let us down.
Yeah, it's exciting.
You know what I mean?
You love
Veron
him.
went, remember Veron at Lazio?
We get him, we're going to win everything.
Yeah, and let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
If Man United had signed Veron in 2001, they would have won everything. And let's leave it at that.
That's it. That is it.
No more.
That's
Anderson,
the real quiz.
he's going to be the next
Golden boy and all that. Yeah.
Golden boy, the best teenager in the world. If we sign him, we'll win everything.
That is it.
And we leave it at that,
That's it.
Jay. Do you know what I mean?
The reality always lets you down.
It does.
Rumours are great, man. They always, you know what I mean? You can't go wrong with a bit of rumouring.
That's what I'm saying. Potential is the best thing in the world.
Exactly.
At every level.
Yeah.
So speaking of potential, first things first, Man United look like they're about to cross the line with Frenkie De Jong. Even the BBC, Simon Stone.
Who is the as reliable can be.
Yeah, the man who will not be moved. Manchester United have reached an agreement of €65, 56 million quid fee, plus add-ons with Barcelona for Netherlands midfielder Frenkie De Jong. There are still some issues to work through in terms of how exactly those add-ons are structured. The rumours are and suggestion is that personal terms won't be an issue. As we move on past that, so that happens all day. We're getting excited about Frenkie De Jong finally sort of like going over that hurdle of like, right, this is probably going to happen now.
So you're like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
I can see the 192.
Yeah.
It's here. It's
here.
arriving.
Hang on a sec.
I can get on it.
What's that behind it, Jay?
It's another 192.
It's another 192 because all of a sudden Fabrizio Romano, smacking exclusives around, has said that Manchester United are trying to hijack the Tyrell Malacia deal. After full agreement with Lyon, United jumped in before the deal was signed. Talks with Feyenoord to reach an agreement, Dutch sources confirm. And in the last 2 minutes, he's tweeted again, since we've been live, Jay. Manchester United, fresh proposal to Feyenoord for Tyrell Malacia, €15 million guaranteed fee, plus add-ons now discussed. Talks in progress to hijack, like pirates, the Olympic Lyon deal, as they had verbal agreement for 12 million plus 3 million in add-ons, waiting on the player side too. So we're coming in with that cheeky little 10% bonus on that transfer fee, Jay. We then heard, I've gone. We then heard from someone who's reportedly a tier 2 journalist for Feyenoord, meaning they're very reliable. Man United and Feyenoord have met an agreement over Tyrell Malacia. This seems to be on, Jay. It's whether he wants to come to the club. 2 buses at once!
Can't cope. Game's gone. It's utter madness.
He wasn't even in transfer review last week.
I know. Tyrell Malacia, you thought, maybe, no, is that going to happen? No, it doesn't look like it. I think we had it on Saturday, maybe. I mentioned him, and the only reason I mentioned him was because I thought that deal was over.
Yeah.
It was done. He was going to go to Lyon, and it was a bit of a shame because it looked like a bit of a bargain. But now it looks like United, I don't know, I'm a bit worried. Because United look like they're getting their acts together.
Do you know why I'm worried?
Why?
Because he's the sort of player that no one had heard of 2 weeks ago. Even Stephen Howson, in all of his infinite South American scouting wisdom, hadn't done a scout review on this guy.
Are you sure? That's probably the only player in the Northern Hemisphere that he hasn't.
Exactly. So this is the sort of player that where you need, and you might not have heard this word before associated with Manchester United, scouts to look at.
No.
Here's a few stats thanks to Squawko, who's saying Tyrell Malacia compared to other defenders in the 2021-2022 Eredivisie season. Yeah. He has had the most shots of any defender, the most take-ons completed, the most successful through balls, the second most final third passes, the third most tackles made, and the third most touches in the opposition box. He's a man that can do it all, Jay. Get up, get back. Apparently he's slightly more defensive than he is attacking. According to a couple of Feyenoord fans that I saw commenting on the post surrounding this move.
You have to wonder, though, don't you?
Signs of Wan-Bissaka, perhaps, but you look at those stats. Wan-Bissaka's not got the most take-ons completed, or the third most touches in the opposition box.
Or
in
the
Premier
most
League,
shots, by any stretch.
Or the most shots.
A nation. You have to wonder, don't you? Like, is he being brought in to replace Luke Shaw? Is he being brought in to be his understudy? It'd be interesting to see how this pans out, if indeed we do get it over the line. Yeah. But it's certainly a player, I don't know a lot about him, I'm not going to pretend I do. When I saw this deal a few weeks ago, I thought it makes sense. And it's also the sort of risk you can take for 15 million quid. Yeah. You can go, okay, let's take a punt on him. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, maybe you sell him for 8 million or whatever, you take a £7 million loss. It's not the end of the world, that is it. So you'd imagine as well, Erik ten Hag, obviously, he wasn't at Feyenoord, but you'd have watched Feyenoord quite a lot because they're one of the main sort of rivals to Ajax. So he'll know a lot about this kid. Yeah. 22 years old as well. You think hopefully he's got another level to go. It kind of all makes sense. What's this as well?
Is that real? Is that right? We're looking for sources on this. But United reporter have tweeted a quote supposedly from the final sporting director Frank Arneson, who has said the agreement is there. We are now waiting for Tyrell to, basically to answer this. If he says yes, then a transfer to Man United is imminent. Fuck off, man.
It would, like, you
I've got
think
his
about
shoes
it,
on.
like,
I'm so excited.
It would make sense. No disrespect to Leon, but you think if a United came in for you, you'd go, all right then, I'll go with United. We're still one of the biggest clubs in the world. Let's not forget that. People often want to put United down and go, oh, look where you are, you finished 6th, you this, you that, the other. We've still got 75,000 fans through the door every week.
Yeah.
We're still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We just are.
Yeah.
Still one of the most successful clubs in the world.
Yeah.
We're still the biggest club in England.
And again, if
so
you move to Leon,
it is attractive.
You get to play with, Aouar, or whatever his name is. You move to Ronaldo. You get to play with Man United.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see what I'm trying to say there, Jay?
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, he is a left-footed fullback. We haven't even said that.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about it. I haven't even said what he does, because a lot of people,
also,
including myself, aren't particularly aware of who he is.
He obviously will know Erik Ten Hag. I know they didn't work together at Feyenoord because Erik Ten Hag wasn't at Feyenoord, but he'll know Erik Ten Hag from Ajax because he's just won everything at Ajax. They keep winning the league every season. So he's gone to United and he's gone to, I want you to come with me. It's got to be quite attractive, that, isn't it, to a young fullback. You think, yeah, I'll have a bit of that, get involved, come down there. And I'll be quite interested to see how this pans out because, we've all had the Luke Shaw discussion, and when he's on form, he can be fantastic. But he's been here for 7 years now, and I still feel like we're waiting for him to kick on. So, kind of makes a lot of sense. The deal, the money wise, isn't massive. You think that with 56 million for De Jong and 15 million for this kid, there should still be around 50, maybe a bit more million in the transfer kit. So we could go out and potentially get at least one, if not two, new players.
Yeah.
Maybe there's enough money for Anthony and someone else, if that's who we're going to go for. Especially if you're going to get Christian Eriksen, I know you're going to get onto him in a minute, on a free.
Yeah.
Then if United can bring in 4 players this window, that's impressive. And I think you have to be realistic as well with transfers, because we had that thing, didn't we, when Ralph Rangnick went, we need 10 players. And everyone went, well, he's right. You don't bring in 10 players in a window.
No.
And realistically, nor should you. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
you don't overhaul your entire team.
Who are we? Ipswich.
Yeah, you don't do that. And you certainly don't do it with a £120 million transfer budget, unless you, like you say, you're in League 2. So you have to be a bit realistic. And let's not forget as well, it's very easy, because I've been guilty of it myself, to be negative and despondent and all that and go, no. We've still got a lot of very good players at Manchester United. Yeah. We still have. We've still got Rafael Varane, you've got Bruno Fernandes, you've got Cristiano Ronaldo, you've got Jadon Sancho, who, wasn't that long ago, he was like one of the most sought after players in Europe. You've still got the likes of, even players that have had poor seasons like Harry Maguire and Marcus Rashford are still players who a couple of seasons ago everyone was lauding over. If you can get a tune out of them, if you can get something out of Donny van de Beek, I know there's a lot of ifs here, but it is possible that these players can get back to levels we've seen them do before. We've seen them reach before, So it's not like United are completely rubbish.
No.
We've just had players who have been massively out of form, and a new manager with some new signings can make all the difference. Let's not forget, me and you talk about this all the time. We lost 2-0 to Burnley. We were 6 points off top 4. We brought one player in Bruno, for 40-odd million. It wasn't like we went and got, Messi or Mbappe. We brought in a player that other clubs had looked at and I'm not sure. We got him, and we finished 3rd. Yeah. We went on a 21-game unbeaten run because it got everyone going. It was that player that we needed, and 1 or 2 players found their mojo because of it. If that can happen again with a few signings and a new manager, then maybe Manchester United, can reach 4th.
Definitely. Definitely. But the thing is as well, I think one thing you mentioned there, and that's a way of looking at it that I think is a sign of optimism, or certainly a point of optimism for me is, you look at a team like Arsenal, and with their young team and players that are coming through, and they're coming from different leagues and they haven't won a lot, and you look at them and you think, if they reach their potential, if they improve the way we think, they could be a very good team, Arsenal.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But with United, we've already seen Rashford, Maguire, Shaw, Van der Beek, Wan-Bissaka to a lesser degree, but still, certainly put him in that bracket. Sancho. We've seen these players be excellent.
Even Martial,
who,
I'm not saying I expect him to do it again, but he scored 23 goals in a season.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
With like one penalty.
Yeah, he's shown you that he's capable of it.
Yeah.
It's just whether he can get there again.
So it's not like we have to hope these players become something they aren't.
Yeah.
We just have to hope that they can go back to what they were.
David De Gea is a great example because, I think he's had a bit of a torrid time. Me and you agree on that. But there was a time when David De Gea was arguably the best goalkeeper in the world.
Yeah.
There was certainly a debate. You could say he's one of them.
2016, 2018.
Yeah. So, and he's only, 30, 31.
Yeah.
So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that these players can get back to that level.
Yeah.
They've shown it. And also, all the players we've mentioned, they're not 34. Marcus is 24, I think, 25.
Yeah.
You know, Jadon Sancho's 22.
Yeah.
Even Harry Maguire, a lot of people sort of, criticise. What is he, 28 or whatever? He's not past it.
No, Varane the same.
Varane. So these players, they're either at the peak physically or getting there. So there's no reason to think, okay, maybe with the right manager, maybe with a bit of belief, maybe with a system, and maybe with one or two signings to complement him, we can get them performing to the levels they're capable of. Because that's the big thing. That's the big difference. You make a good point with the Arsenal one. I don't know if, what's his name, Keita has got a 20 goal season in him.
No.
I don't know that. I've not
Nketiah.
seen it yet. Nketiah, sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know if...
I know Rashford does.
Yeah, because he's done it twice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if to use the Arsenal analogy again, if Saka's got it in him.
Even
but I know Martial has, because I'm not saying Martial will do that, but, I don't know. Yeah, Rashford, like, we've got playing Rashford. Sancho has had a season where he's had, either a goal or assist every other game.
Yeah.
A lot of, our rivals haven't got that. No. And I think that sometimes it is easy to just hate on United and go, oh, we're doomed. And I think we're not, I'm not going to say that just because we're going to get Malacia and De Jong in now, we're going to challenge for the title, because we won't. No. But we can certainly be one of the top contenders for that third or fourth spot.
Yeah, definitely. And again, we're moving in the right direction, hopefully, with a new manager. See, I worry for... Obviously, Tottenham next season are going to be good, and Conte improves teams, and they will probably be a better team next season than they were last season. But he's not going to be there in 5 years' time. He's not going to be, probably, if you're looking at his history, he won't be there in 2 years' time. No. Arteta, I think, will go stagnant at Arsenal. I don't think he's got what it takes to take them to the next level. We've seen Ten Hag has got what it takes to win trophies, if nothing else. We don't know whether he can beat Klopp and Tuchel and Pep, but we're a team that should be moving in the right direction with a lot of momentum at the moment. Does it worry a little bit that one training session in, Ten Hag's like, fuck this?
Well, no.
Luke Shaw, we need a new one.
No, because I think these deals have been in the pipeline. Yeah. I think he's looked at... Malacia was linked with us a little while ago. I don't think that's a coincidence. De Jong, we know he's... De Jong, I think he might have mentioned him in his job interview. That seems to be that keen for him. And he obviously knows these players. And I like the fact here, you've got a manager who... potentially is bringing in players he knows a lot about. Because we've had it before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Where we've had players come in, or managers come in, and they've signed a player that you think, did he know a lot about? Or the player's been signed for him. Yeah. It happened with Fred, with Jose. He obviously didn't want him.
No.
It happened, I think, to a lesser degree with like the likes of Herrera and Shaw, maybe with Van Gaal. Yeah, Van der Beek and Solskjaer. Yeah. You have these players coming and the manager doesn't use them, doesn't seem to know what to do with them, doesn't even seem to want him. Do you know what I mean? Whereas here... this seems to be manager-led. This seems to be the manager going, Malacia is a player I know and I want. De Jong's a player I know and I want. Anthony, potentially, is a player I know and I want. Eriksen is a player, I know and I want. I think it was Damesh Seth said it, and I was reading up on this, that Eriksen, obviously, was at Ajax years ago, but I think he trained again with the Ajax reserves when he had after his cardiac arrest. So... and, he's a player that would have been sort of relatively familiar to Ten Hag anyway because of his profile. Everyone knows who Christian Eriksen is. So these are players that, you can see the manager knowing, wanting for a reason because he knows the system he wants to play. And these players are going to be able to fit into that system. So it kind of makes sense. I've always used this term, United, of joined up thinking. We don't have joined up thinking. We have bankers making decisions. Yep. We make signings that the manager doesn't want. We spend loads of money on players, which are a gamble. We don't have enough money to bring in players when it should be time to spend. Yep. It's just shambolic. This summer so far seems to make sense. It's very early days. I'm not going to go, well, this is it. We're on the right track. But so far... so good, tentatively.
It's very exciting, isn't it? And there was always this rumour and this sort of suggestion going around that De Jong might be the sort of the cork on the champagne of transfers. Like, we need something to budge before we can get 2 or 3 transfers over the line quickly. We've gone from not being in for this lad to all of a sudden their director coming out and saying the agreement with Man United is there. We're now waiting for him. If he says yes, then a transfer to Man United is imminent. That is pretty quick turnaround stuff, isn't it? When it's been, like we said, today, when we've had the big breakthrough on De Jong in terms of that fee being agreed. Are you ready to give any credit to Murtaugh and that team yet, or is it still
tell you what,
bide your time?
I'll give credit to these people, Murtaugh and Arnold and all them.
Yeah.
When I see these players signed,
First of all.
Yeah, there's the first one. Have we got him? When I see how this looks at the end of the transfer window, if at the end of the transfer window we've signed Malacia and De Jong, I'm not going to go, well, we've smashed it this window.
Yeah.
We've spent 71 million quid and we've got 2 players in June and nothing since. Well done, guys. You've won us title number 21. No, but if at the end of the transfer window you go, look, brought in a few players, looks like these are the targets that Eriksen wants, it makes sense. Then I've said it. I mean, you've said it on this channel a lot of times. Listen, I absolutely detest the Glazers, and nothing they can do can change my mind on that. But I'm willing to give the likes of Richard Arnold, John Murtaugh a clean slate.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that the thing's going to be wonderful under them, but they've come in. Okay, show us what you're made of. Show us what you're about. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Richard Arnold, you might look and go, okay, he met with them fans that time and spoke to them. That is, something you probably wouldn't have seen Ed Woodward doing. John Murtaugh seems to be a football man. Again, was Matt Judge and Ed Woodward football people? Not really. No. So there is a sort of indication that this could be a better way of doing things. But we'll have to wait and see. So far, though, this makes a lot of sense. And I think, me and you said it, and it's important that John Murtaugh and Richard Arnold have a good window this window. Yeah. If they have a bad window, the fans are going to go, this is just more the same old nonsense, more the Glazer spin, we're not having it. And also, if Erik ten Hag feels like he's been hamstrung, it's going to make his life difficult. And that could turn the fans against, not the manager, but against the powers that be. So it's important that they get it right for this window. And also, you look at the distance, we finished behind City and Liverpool. We can't afford to keep falling further behind. We need a positive window this window because they've gone out and they've got 2 very, very good players. So we need to make sure that we're strengthening where we need to strengthen. And I actually think that it makes sense as well to get a left back in because, yes, Luke Shaw had a good season the season before last, but I think you look at the entirety of his United career, it's been patchy. Mm-hmm. It really has. And he also seems to play his best football when Alex Telles came in and gave him a bit of a kick up the backside. Yeah, so maybe that can happen again.
The suggestion is that it's going to be a €15 million fixed fee to Feyenoord, spread over 3 years, with then a possibility of 2 million more on top. Do you know something, right?
That's a ridiculously decent deal.
Can I put a suggestion to you? This is just my little theory here.
Please, I always love a good
With
theory.
the likes of Frenkie De Jong, when we're talking 60, 70 million quid, that's just what he's going to cost, isn't it? Maybe we could have been skinned for sort of 80 million, 90 million euros, and we'd have gone, it's a bit steep, but whatever. With these sorts of players, young players, unproven, going from a sort of not lesser league, because I know the Dutch league is decent, but it's not the Premier League in standard, to Manchester United, I think using a transfer to another club as a sort of a benchmark for a fee, because Leon agreed to this 30 million euro fee. I bet you if Man United, if Leon weren't in for him and United went, right, we want this left back, they would have gone 30 million euros. And we've almost let Leon set the price for him, which is an actually reasonable price that any club other than Man United would get. And then we've gone, okay, well, now you've agreed 30 million with them. Okay, we'll give you 15. Whereas if we'd have just gone to them out of the blue, they'd have gone 30 million quid because you're Man United.
Yeah.
I think this might be a good little plan going forward. Let clubs that aren't skinned the way United are consistently, let them set the fee. And then after that, we can go in and sort of gazump that, as you were, by 2 million euros. Because like everyone at Ajax at the minute, Anthony, they got him 2 years ago for 14 million quid.
Yeah.
Rumours were a couple of months ago, 40 million quid, 40 million euros for Anthony. Now they want 80 for him because it's United. Like Lissandro Martinez, they want 50 million quid for him because it's United. Like Man United, Ajax sold Aller to Dortmund for 30 million quid. He's just scored tons of goals for them. If United wanted him, it's 50 at least. They've just sold... I can't remember his name, the central midfielder that's gone to Bayern Munich from Ajax, Gravenberch. They've just sold him for 20 million euros to Bayern Munich. If that's United, it's 40 million. Yeah. So how about we let other teams bid for him, let the fee be agreed with a normal team, and then we come and beat that by 2 million rather than giving that United tax up front. That's a good little way of doing it, that.
It is, and you know what I like about this as well, right? So you put a really good point on there, because... you look at it in the past, like people always, when you talk about a bargain for United, one of the few bargains or where we've made money on any deal over the last few years has been Dan James.
Yeah.
And people go, Dan James, and we did make money. We sold him, was it 30 million quid and we bought him for 15. But I remember everyone going on about like how it was a great deal when we bought him for, I think, was it around 15 million quid. I remember thinking, hang on a minute, Leeds were in for him 4 months ago for 4 million.
Yeah.
Wasn't that good a deal? We basically paid over 4 times what they offered.
Yeah, 10 million quid more than what Leeds
Yeah,
did.
and he hadn't set the world alight in those 4 months since they came in for him. Now it seems like we are going, all right, that's what they're going to offer, like you said.
Yeah.
We don't need to double it. We don't need to go, well, Feyenoord, we're offering, Leon, we're offering you 40 million, we'll give you 28.
No.
Which is what might have done in the past. Or, even worse, what we tended to do over the last few years is we would have waited for Malacia to go to Leon, see what he did there, and then next season spend 30 million quid on him, rather than saying, hang on, why don't we get him now?
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Why don't we take a punt on this kid now, which is what we seem to be doing. And I also get the impression as well that there seems to be a little bit of inside info going on here. Like with De Jong, United seem pretty confident they could get that deal done for that price, for a reason. I don't think it's just speculation.
No.
It's like they've worked it out, or they know, they think, there's a good chance here Barca will go for this because of A, B, and C.
Yeah.
There's a good chance Feyenoord will do this because, or this kid will come to us because we know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it seems like somewhere along the
Like the
line.
Van der
there's
Beek thing had a similar feel to
Yeah.
it, didn't it? Where all of a sudden you're like, wait, why are we? I thought he was going to Real Madrid. Why do we think we can get him? And then it was pretty clear quite quickly. They're like, oh no, they know something that we don't, kind of thing.
That was it. I mean, we were caught surprised on the channel because we'd been doing transfer updates constantly.
Yeah.
And then I think we had one news where we were like, Van der Beek maybe, like a few days earlier, but there was no sort of inclination here that Van der Beek was going to get done. No. And all of a sudden, it was done. I've just had a message here that's just outrageous.
Yeah.
5,000 people watching, which is fantastic. Only 470 likes.
Let's get to 2,000 likes.
So let's get to 2,000 likes. Joe
Easy.
said 2,000 likes, right? And do you want to let down, Joe?
Not really.
It's just bang out of order. What's people saying in the chat? Anyway?
Well, W01970 says,
the same
"Where was
name
this
as my
advice when
second
I was
child."
buying my house, Joe? I apologise. I was focusing entirely on Manchester United news." Zachary Purvis says, "Frenkie De Jong, Malacia, now seeing rumblings on Twitter. Dumfries is next. Maybe reports were true that we were waiting on Frenkie De Jong to know how much we have to spend. Maybe that's it."
Do you reckon Barcelona going, hang on a minute, all this money left over?
You said that was
it.
it.
Was skin. You said that's
Nah, mate,
56
we said we
million
were
is all
skin for
you've got.
this deal.
And also that deal as well. That Malacia one, you go 15 million.
Yeah.
All right, spread out over 3 payments.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That I give my kids that much for when their tooth falls out.
Yeah.
I put 5 million quid under the pillow
It's
of my
like-
non-existent toothless children. That's nothing.
It's like,
Isn't it?
It's like if the Feyenoord not realising what Manchester United do in the transfer market.
I put 5 million quid in the charity box at McDonald's.
Yeah,
That's
no. You know when it says round up, do you want to round it up to like? Do you want to add on a penny?
Yeah.
I say no. Add on £5 million.
round up to 5 million quid because that's
just standard.
zilch.
Yeah, that's
that might
nothing
as well be
to
zilch.
us. And yet with Manchester United here now, it seems like we're spreading out 15 million euros over 3 years. We've got the £56 million up front for Frenkie De Jong. Now listen, whilst this all sounds very exciting, the only reason this is good news is if we're saving money for other transfers.
Yeah.
It's not good news if at the end of the day it's giving the Glazers some more money.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that. If it enables us to buy another 3 players, for example, then yeah, I'm all about that. And that would be a good move for Manchester United. That's why when I hear we're not spending loads of money on certain players, and like you saying, the Frenkie De Jong one, we knew it was going to be around that. I think it's actually the lower end of what we expected. I thought everything between sort of 55, 56 up to 75, 80. I was worried we were going to go full Paul Pogba.
Yeah,
And you make a great point as well when you talk about transfers. Sometimes if a player comes in, like Harry Maguire comes in for 80 million, people expect him to be an £80 million player straight away. And they go, well, he's cost more than Van Dijk, so he's got to be better than him.
Yeah.
And if he's not, then he's a failure.
And
it adds that pressure onto the player.
failings of the negotiation team and the transfer team are placed on the player in terms of pressure. Like you said, Maguire wasn't worth 80 million quid, but that's what Matt Judge and Ed Woodward paid for him. And now it's up to you, Harry, to prove that those shit people who are bad at their job did the right thing. Like, that's a point that people don't seem to make about Woodward and Judge and the people who are doing these deals up until now. they put the pressure of their failings on the players.
Yeah.
Paul Pogba, the story would have been different if we'd have got him for 70 million quid.
It would have.
It just would. And again, he still wouldn't have probably lived up to it.
No.
But when you're the most, I think it was depending on the currency exchange at the time, the most expensive player in history when we bought him.
Yeah.
You better be pretty good.
Yeah.
But if you'd have come in for 70, no pressure like that.
You're right.
It's
That
just
little
different.
difference makes a big difference.
And that's
if
not
that
the
makes
player's
sense.
fault.
Because then the narrative changes. The player's not under that pressure. I think it was Busby when he bought like Dennis Violet or something for 20. Bought him at 30 grand, and he paid 29,999.
Yeah.
Just to be me, he wasn't the first, or he wasn't a £30,000 player or whatever it was. I might be getting the player wrong, whoever it was. You know what I mean? I think it was Dennis Violet. So yeah, there is that pressure. There is that added expectation that comes with it.
Yeah.
I think had De Jong come in and he'd been an £80 million player, people might go, well, this better be a title-winning performance from you. You're like, because you're 80 million quid. 56 million quid, you expect a lot from him. Obviously, it's Frenkie De Jong who's coming from Barca. It costs, 56 million quid. But you said it there. It's only a bit more than we paid for Fred.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's still less than we paid for Di Maria, less than we paid for Paul Pogba, less than we paid for Lukaku, less than we paid for Paul Pogba. Yeah. This isn't one of our, he's not our record signing or close to our record signing. No. He's actually over 30 million quid less than our record signing. So it just takes that little bit of pressure and expectation off him when he's already got enough on his plate anyway, because he's coming to Manchester United, and according to all the reports we're reading, there's a lot expected of him because we're going to sort of base our midfield around him.
Yeah, and even someone like Telles, who looks to be on his way out and has been poor and, will leave the club, has never been called a waste of money.
No.
Because he was 12 million quid.
It felt like
yeah, that's what we expected.
When you look at the narrative with Van Bissaka, 50 million.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a big chunk, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're going, he's a £50 million player.
Yeah.
And he's
one of the most expensive fullbacks
and then
ever.
And then all of a sudden, if we'd have bought Wan-Bissaka, if we'd have done what we're doing with this kid Malacia, I know he's a bit older, but if we'd have bought Wan-Bissaka, remember when he was man of the match against us at for Crystal Palace? And you think he played about 12 games. He was man of the match. We beat him 3-2 at Sellers Park. You remember Man United scored that goal. But everyone was raving about Wan-Bissaka. If we'd have got him then for, say, 15 million, it would have changed. The narrative would have changed. Because if he hadn't worked out, people he's only 15
Give
million.
him time.
He only played 12 games. We took a punt. Give him time. Yeah, you're right. But because he'd had that other season, it's been very good. We paid exactly what Palace asked for. So there was no bargain there. They wanted 50. We waited 2 weeks, negotiated, and then gave them 50.
Yeah.
It's you better perform. And he's not quite lived up to those expectations, really, has it?
No.
And now the patience is wearing out because he was a £50 million player. So you don't expect to wait 3 seasons for him to get good.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This kid, hopefully, and this is our job as fans, or my job and your job, give him a bit of patience. Mm-hmm. Yes, he's 22, which, he's not a child, but he's still coming to the Premier League for the first time. Isn't a 70, 60, 70 million pound fullback. Yeah. He costs 15 million euros. Let's be a bit patient with him, and hopefully he can be a player that plays for Manchester United for many years to come, as long as we get him.
Yeah, definitely. We've got loads more comments. Cosmic says, how bad was Luke Shaw's training session for them to get this guy over the line in the next day? Yeah, that's a bit...
Do you think there was that?
Nah.
Because I was saying you've got to be looking at this for longer than just today.
It'd be funny though, wouldn't it?
Do you reckon he's gone? Not only did you not put the bibs where I told you to, you're just rubbish at football.
Yeah.
So just go and get Malacia.
Yeah, no, Luke Shaw's gone home in his bib. He's texting me, shit, I'm halfway home. I've just realised I've got 3 bibs.
Do you know what, Luke? Do us both a favour. Yeah? Don't bother coming in tomorrow.
Well, I'll come in just to drop my bib off.
Yeah.
Then he puts it in the wrong pile.
Oh man.
No, we have a go at Luke Shaw, but I think who's United's second left back? Alex Telles. He looks like he's probably going to leave, and he's just not good enough.
Do you know what I like about this as well? I mean, I don't know. I might be wrong, and you can correct me. But aren't we getting rid of Andreas Pereira for around the same money?
11 million quid. That's the rumour to Fulham.
Pereira was never going to play for Manchester United this season.
No.
And you've basically used that money to pay for this kid who probably will play for Manchester United this season.
Yeah.
So that should leave money to buy some shiny new toys.
This is the thing when you talk about stuff like net spend.
Don't talk about spend, talk about net spend.
Exactly, and it's a bit of a wishy-washy term because if you've got money, your net spend doesn't need to be that low because United have still spent $1.5 billion and we've got a shocking net spend. We've just spent it badly. Whether our net spend was 40 quid or minus $1 billion, we've still bought the wrong players for the wrong manager. So net spend is only as good as the players you're buying.
Yeah.
But when United say a budget of 120 million quid, like you said, this is like 1 in, 1 out. Andreas Pereira, who hasn't played for the club basically in 2 years, is being swapped for a new left back who's a very exciting 22-year-old prospect from a known club in Feyenoord from Erik ten Hag, that's the sort of net spend kind of rotating door that all United fans, I'm sure, would be excited about.
Yeah.
You can sort of cross that off. Pereira out, Malacia in. Great, I'll take that any day.
And that leaves me Kitty to go
untouched.
and get more. Yeah, that's the thing, innit? Whenever we talk about this money, whenever we look at the deals that are being made, the only reason I feel positive about us spending less than I expected, or like you say, a player coming in and covering for a player, or sorry, a player going out and covering the cost of a player coming in, is because it still leaves that budget there available to bring in more players. Because we still need probably a right winger. We still could probably do with another midfielder, because let's not forget, we've lost 2 midfielders in Matic and Pogba. We've lost Mata as well. And Lingard. Now, at least, you might go, okay, well, how many of them were going to play? With 5 subs this season, all those players would have featured for United.
That's a good point, that.
They would have. Do you know what I mean? I think between those 4 players, they would have had probably about 80 appearances between them. Yeah? So you need to replace them, and not forgetting, we finished 6th with them. Yeah. So you need to be better than we were last season. So, yes, De Jong comes in. I'd like to see a Christian Eriksen come in as well. I think there is scope for that to happen. I don't think he's going to come in and play 4 games all season. I think he'll come in and play quite a lot.
Yeah, just as the latest on that, it's not a huge update, but this was said a few hours ago from Simon Stone. So here's where we are with the Eriksen deal.
It's factual.
Even if there isn't a huge sort of update. Simon Stone was saying that Christian Eriksen is keeping Brentford and United waiting about his next career move. The Dane has offers on the table from both clubs, but there's been no update on what he's likely to do, apparently. Brentford are still waiting to hear if their attempts to keep Christian Eriksen at the club after they gave him a route back into the game last season after his heart issue have been successful. How much do you think they're playing that? Like, do you know when someone's like breaking up with you, like, I know you're going to try and break up with me, but do you remember when your mum and dad got divorced and I was all nice to you?
Do you remember,
still want to break up with me because I've been through a hard time?
Do you remember when you was going through it and you'd put on loads of weight and all that, and I was stayed with you and you know what I mean, and took you to Weight Watchers and that.
Yeah, and you still want to break up with me.
Yeah, now you're proper stunning and that.
Do you remember when you had your heart thing and we gave you a route back to football and that? Yeah. I'm not saying that we're the heroes here, but could you do us a favour?
Well, Eriksen, I can just go. Do you remember when you literally just had your cardiac arrest and no one would let you train? And I said you could train with Ajax.
Yes!
Before Brentford.
We had the moral high ground.
Before Brentford even heard you. I was going, don't worry about Eric, Christian.
Yeah.
Come in and train with Ajax. Yeah. It's okay,
welcome.
Bro. We'll welcome you.
Yeah.
And then Brentford went, oh, what are you doing now? Ajax, you're doing well, aren't you? Oh, well, yeah, come and play with us for a bit. And then we'll emotionally blackmail you. Pathetic.
Absolutely pathetic.
Hey.
And I just want to see the training footage of Brandon Williams and Christian Eriksen together in training when he daren't tackle him. He's going to score so many goals down that right-hand side.
That was wonderful. Do you think that's why Brandon Williams has been linked with a move away?
Maybe. We're not sure.
Yeah. So I was looking going, we can risk that one. We've got 1,300 likes, which, for some channels or for other occasions might be acceptable.
A bit of a tick. Don't know where that came from. Passive-aggressive.
Yeah. But for us, it's an absolute disgrace. Come on, people.
Let's get to
2,000. Hit that like, but let's get to... Joe said 2,000 likes, right? And what Joe wants, Joe gets.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Thank you.
Apparently.
And I want transfers. And we've got it looking like we're approaching 2 today.
Do you feel, though, with this?
Yeah.
Because this morning in my news, I think the sort of latest on Anthony from Ajax was that maybe we were getting priced out on that one because Ajax was sort of saying, well, it's not 40 million, it's closer to 60. And United are going, don't be stupid. Do you feel, though, with some of these manoeuvres we're making, that maybe there could be a bit of movement on the Anthony deal? I'm not saying we'll pay 60 million for him, but maybe we'll go to Ajax and go, all right, then 50.
Well, did you see how we were linked with Ajax's midfielders a couple of weeks ago, and we ended up getting a Barca one? We were linked with Ajax's fullback Tagliafico. We've ended up getting a Feyenoord one. Again, these deals aren't fully done yet, but they're looking like likely. Yeah. We've almost this sort of thing of apparently this gentleman's agreement between Ten Hag and Ajax that he ain't just going to raid everything like a Viking warship from the 6th century. He's sticking to it, and he's almost like circling, like right. We're saving that Anthony. We're cashing that chip on Anthony.
Yeah.
I wonder because we could have got someone from Ajax from midfield. We could have got the Tagliafico or one of their fullbacks, but we didn't. We've gone instead for players that the manager knows, but without being players from Ajax. And then what's this here?
Is this a new one?
No, it's just the full sort of confirmation.
Oh, that's quite interesting as well. As they've got the same agent. Tyrell Malacia and Frenkie De Jong have got the same agent.
Yeah.
So he's having an easy time of it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, what you want, Frenkie?
Yeah.
Well, why are you getting him? Can I interest you in a
Way down there.
22-year-old left back?
Yeah.
Huh?
In the region of 15 million euro.
West Ham were interested.
West
but
Ham were interested.
We would like to do deals with vis-a-vis, aka for you.
So yeah, it's almost like we're gathering pace in these positions, and we're saving our one. We want your player, Ajax, please.
Yeah.
Chip for Anthony is how it looks to me.
Do you know what I mean? Eriksen and I should just go full. Do you remember when you'd not won a title for 4 years and that? And then I came in and, you just lost the Europa League final. Not doing too well. I came in. And
I don't want to use the word disarray.
Yeah, I just basically won a title every year and I was there. Yeah. Do you remember that? Yeah. And then do you remember when I brought through all them players and nurtured them like De Ligt and De Jong and Van der Beek and Hakim Ziyech, and we sold them all.
Remember I sold
for
that
profit.
Donny Van der Beek to Man United?
Yeah, do you remember when I did all that for you? Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying you owe me anything, but you know what I mean. It would
But a
be
lot of jobs do a leaving gift. Just give me Anthony as my leaving gift. Don't want a blender. Give me Anthony as a leaving gift. Do a little whip round and get me that fucking right winger right there, please.
I can see this Anthony deal happening for one reason as well.
It's called Anthony.
There's that, and we love a good Anthony, don't we? Valencia, Martial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Owen. Yeah, go on. We love a good Anthony.
Also, that's kind of Ajax's thing.
Yeah.
You go there for a couple of years, do well, whether you come through the youth or the buyer, and if decent offer comes in for you, you can move on. And it's attractive to young players to know that. And also, it's a business model for them that works very well.
Yeah, there's a reason they call him the Dutch Dortmund.
Yeah.
Because you go there, and again, you're almost guaranteed that they're not going to sort of keep you there against your will.
Yes.
They will generally, should I say, let you leave.
And he seems keen to leave, doesn't he?
He does seem keen to leave.
So
just whether he says yes to Manchester United now, which you would hope. I don't even think our fullbacks are in a position where he'll be like, I'm never going to get a game. I think he'll think I can come into this team and start every week.
Yeah.
Which would be absolutely brilliant. There was a super chat at the start saying, shall we stay live until the deal is agreed? The speed at which the updates are coming in for this Malacia deal, we may well be able to, but I'm not quite sure that one's going to happen.
Can we have a subscribe as well? If you're watching, because there's 5,000 of you watching, 5,000 and odd, give us a subscribe. If you're not doing it already, subscribe to the channel. We're going live all the time. Hopefully as well, there'll be things to go live about. These deals look like they're happening now. We've gone from 2 weeks of sort of angst.
Yeah.
And look at everyone. Look at City buying Ireland and look at the Scousers buying Darwin Núñez and look, even Spurs have got their act together and Arsenal just bought Gabriel Jesus and what United doing? We're doing nothing. Yeah. Well, now looks like United are kicking into gear at the right time as well because pre-season has not really started yet. We haven't had any games, have we? So you can get some of these players over the line and get them on the tour. Happy days, do you know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. So hit that like button and hit that subscribe button as well. What are people saying in the chat?
Yeah, Devam Sharma, sort of echoing that point I was making before, waited for Feyenoord to agree a fee with Leon for Malacia so there's no Man United tax. Great little manoeuvre that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like that. It's nice.
About time we started being a bit snaky.
Bit savvy.
Yeah.
When's the last time, and I've said this before, Man United are like America, where we sort of talk a big game, we're very well known, but we're never actually at the top of any of the lists you want to be at the top of. Like education or healthcare, or in Man United's case, transfers or trophies won.
Or the Premier League table.
You never look at United and go, you know what? That was an ingenious manoeuvre they've pulled there. But for the first time, and whether it was purposeful or not, letting another team that doesn't have the United tax on them agree a fee first and then just beating it by a little tweak, a couple of million euros, that is something where if that's how it worked and that was on purpose, that's a very smart thing to do.
Have we made a savvy move post-Fergie? Have we made a move where you go, oh, that's a good one? Has there been any? Because basically, Pogba, City looked at him, weren't going to pay what we were, we paid the most.
Yeah.
Leicester, Harry Maguire, you want him 80 million, we paid it. Wan-Bissaka at Crystal Palace, you want him, you pay it. Chelsea were willing to sell Juan Mata for a record fee, and we paid it.
Bruno was a bit of a 40-odd million, but again, he was unproven, and he'd not failed, but he'd had sort of backward steps in his career. But when he went
in
to
Serie A. So there was a bit of a he's worked out very well, I think so anyway. But there's not been one where you go, wow, that's a real, like even Sancho, 73 million quid or whatever. is about right.
Yeah.
That's probably what you'd expect to pay for Jadon Sancho, because he's not going to be one of the most expensive players in the world, but he's going to cost you a fair bit because of his productivity. So I don't think there's been one where I go, even Matic, 50 million for a 28-year-old, kind of, about right.
Yeah.
I don't think there's one where you go, that's an absolute steal.
Yeah.
Di Maria, big money. Lukaku, big money.
Yeah.
Even Memphis, it was about right for him. I think 27 million or whatever it was.
Yeah.
For a player who'd done well at PSV for a couple of seasons. So I don't think there's been one where you go, wow, that's a snip. That's, like you said, savvy. That's where United have earned their crust on the scouting and whatever. It's always Leicester will do that, and then we'll do it after they do it.
Because why should it be expected that United are just anything like the bang average expectation every time? Why shouldn't the team with the most money and therefore the most resources available and presumably the biggest budget to hire the best people, why should that team not be the ones where you go, smart that?
Yeah.
That's a good idea, that. Because we're so used to overpaying or paying exactly what the opposition, or not the opposition, but the other team wants, the selling team wants, that it's almost become like expectation that there must be a United tax. Yeah. Well, maybe there doesn't, because there doesn't seem to be as much of a Bayern Munich tax, or as much of a Chelsea tax, or as much of even a City tax.
City, the richest club in the world.
Than us.
Yeah.
They don't pay 100 million everyone they buy. I know they did with Grealish. That was a bit stupid.
Yeah, but their MO seems to be around 40 to 50 million quid.
Yeah.
They buy a lot of players for that.
Yeah.
But they seem to stick around that. I know Mahrez and Grealish, like you say, are over it. But they tend to go, okay, we'll buy Sterling, we'll buy John Stones, we'll buy Bernardo Silva, we'll buy, Ruben Diaz, whatever. But it's always around the 40 to 50 million pound mark, which works for them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? With United, I know even the Scousers, they'll have like, oh yeah, we're going to spend 75 million quid on Van Dijk and whatever, 60 million on Alisson Becker or whatever he was. But we'll also get in Robertson for like 8 million.
Yeah.
Even Salah was only, 28 million or something, I don't know. But he was, you look at what he's done, he was a bit of a bargain, really. And yet United don't seem to mix it up like that. It's always the big ones, the big signings, the most money, the ones that, when it was like a swap deal for Alexis Sanchez and Mkhitaryan, you can't say there was any bargain involved in that because his wages were astronomical.
Yeah.
And he was also terrible.
Yeah, he was. And it just again, it's so surprising to see United go, or to look at United and go, that was quite good. That was better than I expected.
The one that I thought was quite a decent deal, I thought at the time, and hasn't been proven so since, was Varane. I thought Varane for 40 odd million, so that's quite decent.
Yeah. David Ornstein, sorry, now confirming what we know about Malacia there. That's again that 15 plus potential €2 million add-ons. That seems.
It says agreement, yeah.
The agreement is there with the club. It's now waiting on personal terms with the player. Will he accept Manchester United? He wanted to go to Olympic Lyon, apparently.
It's interesting that, just on that, Ornstein, is right, just read this out.
Yeah.
Just what he says is, David Ornstein, obviously, who's tier one, there's an argument he's usurped Fabrizio Romano as the king of tier ones. Yeah. He says, Man United agreement with Feyenoord for left-back Tyrell Malacia, understood to be €15 million plus €2 million in add-ons, plus sell-on clause. Lyon were offering 30 million plus 2 million add-ons, needs to agree personal terms, and his article is with Laurie Whitwell for The Athletic, post Fabrizio Romano scoop. This feels like a bit of a reminder then from Romano. Hang on a minute, because he was getting a bit of hate, wasn't he?
Can I say something in the defence of Fabrizio
Romano? I like
Romano?
this that you do this. Go on.
Because it's gotten to the point where he's being called a tapping merchant, like Cristiano Ronaldo or something being called a tapping merchant, where when he'll often,
when he'll quote Stephen Howson.
Yeah, exactly. He'll confirm other people's research occasionally. Yeah. And here's the thing you need to remember with him is, yes, I'm sure he's got a team. Yes, whatever. He is one man. He cannot be first and exclusive on every transfer in Europe, because he's not just doing your club, he's doing everyone's club. He's doing Italy, he's doing Spain, he's doing England, he's doing everything. He can't possibly be expected to be first and best on everything. So occasionally, he's going to repeat what someone else has said. Occasionally, he's even going to quote that he's repeating what someone else has said. But today...
But is that not the right thing as well, though, to quote where you've got it from?
Of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
We all laugh with Steve, but Steve knew that story for a fact because he'd spoken to someone very, very reliable.
Well, just as a point...
And that's why he quoted him, because he went that's been stood up, that's true.
Yeah.
And you're the one that's broke it, so I'll quote you.
Yeah.
Rather than just going, I've got a scoop for you.
Yeah.
And then pretending it was his.
Well, when you said the thing about Romano is that he's never first on anyone, he was literally first on Malacia today.
That's what I
He
mean.
was the
It
one
feels
who came
like
out with the exclusive that David Ornstein is quoting. He came out first on
also-
that. He also came out. He was the one that said, "Here we go" on Varane about 2 days before anyone else dared to, and people were going, "Has he got this right? His reputation's on the line," and he was right. He can't be first and best on everyone.
And
That's not feasible.
I don't mind that of him quoting people and going, look, this is where, as such and such a body said, this is true. Because also, let's not forget as well, when he says it, he still carries a lot of weight. So if if you're hearing from, I keep using Steve as an example, it's a good one. If you're hearing from Steve something, you might go, okay, yeah, but he's not a journalist, is that?
Yeah.
Whereas if Romano goes, actually, that's true, then you go, okay, fair enough. And he does that. And also, everyone loves Ornstein. Ornstein's the new flavour of the month. Ornstein's quoting the scoop of Fabrizio Romano.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt for me that Fabrizio Romano does put the graft in. We know he does, anyone who's ever spoke to him, and he's up till 5 a.m. and then he's up again at, I don't even think he sleeps, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He's obviously got a lot of connections. He's broken a lot of stories. I don't think he's suddenly given up and stopped doing it. No. I think you're right. I think people just sort of want to hate on him a little bit because he does a lot of quoting and a lot of as per this guy and as per that guy. But I'd rather he did that than just went, I've got a scoop for you, I've worked this one out, or I've got inside info when it's Laurie Whitwell or someone who's done the hard work. So I don't have an issue with it, and I think this is a little reminder as well that Fabrizio Romano has still got a bit of game.
He has still got a bit of game, and this isn't, Tyrell Malacia obviously is being linked with United puts him in a bracket above, his reputation. But this isn't a world-renowned superstar being sold for 100 million quid, where his agent for sure, this, that, this is a relatively unknown player, and he's got the scoop on it. And again, you can't be first on everything; it's impossible. And he's also got it where it's everyone versus him almost. Everyone else has got a publication to fall back on. The Athletic, The Guardian, The Times, BBC, whatever. He's just him.
Yeah.
I know he does bits in The Guardian, but his reputation is his alone.
Yeah.
And think how many here we goes he's said in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
You can count on one hand the amount he's got wrong.
Yeah.
There have been people that come and go in the transfer business.
Yeah.
Think of Di Marzio, who 5-10 years ago was God
Yeah.
in terms of transfers. Now he's just speculation here and there. The fact that you can quote the number of here we goes he's got wrong. I think it's like 1 or 2 in 3 years, and he does every transfer. That's not a bad record.
And also, as well with that, is like, things can change. You can say something, and then it can be true at the time, and then something can fall apart. Do you know what I mean? I think there was, I know it wasn't a here we go, but if you look at Sanchez to City, that was done that was happening until United came in with a bigger offer, a swap deal and more wages, and it changed. So there are times when it can change, and you're allowed to get things wrong. You're human, but he is, very reliable. He's got 8 million followers now. I remember the first time we interviewed him, he had 1 million. That was only 2 years ago.
You said congratulations for passing 1 million followers, didn't you?
Yeah, on the first time we interviewed him on Tier 1, me and Ronnie, and I went, congratulations, 1 million followers. And now he's got 8 million followers on Twitter for a reason. And, it happens, and I think Twitter can be 9 million, I've just been told. There you go, see, it's gone up already. Jonathan Schrager was getting a lot of dogs abuse the other day because he got something wrong. And I know Jonathan. We've had him on the brew. I've known him for a few years now, probably about 8 years. Sort of, spoke to him a few times. And he's someone who, he doesn't do it for money. He's not getting anything out of it. He does it because he's interested in football. He's interested in transfers. He does his own work. He's got some contacts. He speaks fluent Spanish. He uses that to his advantage. He's a guy that just, tries to sort of getting into this game. And let's not forget, for years, Jonathan Schrager had the team news. He had it nailed on. That's why his profile got risen to the way it did. Then he was getting stick for tweeting the team news because people were saying you're giving the opposition an advantage. Yeah. So he stopped doing that, and he'd do like the odd little, I'm hearing that such and such body's going to be captain or something. He wouldn't,
He'd give hints without giving full details.
Yeah. Then he starts doing the transfer stuff, and again, he keeps getting things right. But when he gets something wrong, he gets absolutely hammered. Yeah. And I remember speaking to Mitten once, and he said that he said, what was it he said about Kingsley Coman? Yeah. He said that United were interested in him. Yeah. And he was getting like death threats. Yeah. People said, you making this up. And he said, like, he'd had it stood up by the club, the agent, the player, and he'd done it. I know Mitten very well. He does his own work. Yeah. And he said, like, at the time, that was someone we were looking at. Yeah. Sancho was the preference, but we were looking at Coman. That's what he said. Yeah. And it's like, people don't want to hear that. And if you get it, not just if you get it wrong, but if you tell them something they don't want to hear. Do you remember Ornstein was getting threatened because he said that Arsenal weren't getting rid of Arteta or whatever it was.
It was something to do with Everton, wasn't it?
Was it? Sorry.
He
said something
literally getting death threats.
He said something which was factually true.
Yeah.
Like, Arsenal or Everton aren't buying or aren't.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Ornstein. It was.
There was one with Ornstein where
Was it?
Was Ornstein? He said something
it when he
about
talked
Arsenal,
about
like Emery
Grealish?
wasn't getting sacked or
Oh,
something.
sorry.
He was like Emery's job is safe or something,
Yeah.
or it was something that Arsenal fans didn't want to hear.
Yeah.
And they were going, but because he was Mr. Arsenal, one of
Yeah.
Ornstein, that's how he made his name before he became Mr. Just Transfers. And he said something that again was true, but people didn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
It was an unpopular truth.
Yeah.
It was something like Emery's, he's got to the end of the season or whatever it was. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And he was getting hammered. And these are just like journalists just trying to do the job. They're not, I don't think there's anything sinister going on here.
No.
They've not got an agenda. David Ornstein isn't trying to, ingratiate himself with Arsenal Football Club by telling falsehoods.
No.
And yet people were going berserk. And Mitten said the same to me. He did his thing, and he was telling me when we had him on the Fanzine Friday, the first time he came on the channel, and he was saying people going mad at him,
Yeah.
and he was like, "What are you on about?"
Yeah. Who is it? The City reporter for the Athletic who we've had
Sam
on the
Lee.
channel.
I
Sam
like
Lee.
Sam. He's a good lad.
He was the one a couple of years ago saying that, or last year saying that Grealish was willing to leave Aston Villa to go to City. He was literally getting death threats from Villa fans. Like it's true. It happened. We've got a couple more super chats. W015970 says Joey's on fire with his take. Show that, Jay.
Go on,
Joe,
son.
you are ready for mainstream sports media.
No, he's not, right? Listen,
okay,
we're not having here we go, Joe Smith to Sky Sports. We loaned him out to Sky Sports News yesterday, on a short-term loan, not with an option to buy, not with a sort of one of those, a view to a permanent move. It was a short-term loan.
Okay.
That was all it is. So he's not joining the Murdoch Empire. He's staying on this one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Stephen S says, I think Ten Hag is not going to sign a CDM because he wants to give a chance to Scott and Garner. He'll get the other signings he thinks we need and give the kids a chance. Also, Jay, loving your hair today. The United man says, good to see the gaffer only going after players he feels will fit his system, not just worldy signings and hope it works. Ronaldo, 35 goals next season. And Paul Madison says, how dare you stand up for journalism integrity, Jay? Giving credit to others, how dare he?
I know, because you know what makes me laugh as well with some of these journalists? Because I know a few of them, and a lot of them have done the hard work.
Yeah.
They've done the local reporting at the paper with, 14 readers.
Mm-hmm.
They've done the knocking on doors after, there's been a crime, or they've done the press conference at, Accrington Stanley. Yeah. They've done all that, and they've worked their way up. That's how a lot of them have sort of got ahead. So it's not just a case of just jobs for the boys. A lot of these journalists have sort of done their hard graft, done their own work, and built up a network of contacts. Don't get me wrong, there are some, not going to name any names, that may or may not write for the Manchester Evening News, and their first name may or may not be Samuel, who haven't done any of those things. But there are a lot of journalists out there who have.
Let's just do a quick wrap up then. Frenkie De Jong,
Have we got 2,000 likes, by the way? Yet? No one's wrapping
We're
anything
very
up.
close to 2,000 likes. Let's hit the like button. If you've not hit the like button, let's get to 2,000 likes. You're watching the video, hit like. Frenkie De Jong, according to BBC, according to everyone, Manchester United nearing agreement on £56 million deal for the Barcelona midfielder. United are paying £56.2 million for Frenkie De Jong. Personal terms should be a formality according to Sky, but are yet to be agreed to finalise that deal.
Personal.
And then just as that one was breaking, we saw Tyrell Malacia coming out. Well, he wasn't coming out. Fabrizio Romano came out and said that United are hijacking the deal for Malacia, even after the agreement.
Whoa. Say it like a Mancunian.
Malacia.
That's better. Tyrell Malacia.
After a verbal agreement with Lyon, Man United jumped in before the deal was signed. Talks with Feyenoord to reach an agreement. Reports of a 13 million euro bid by Marseille, Lyon, that was originally agreed to. United then came in with a 15 million euro bid with a potential 2 million in further add-ons. That has been accepted. We're now waiting for the player to accept personal terms. We've hit 2,000 likes. Manchester United looking like 2 deals might get done in the next few days. Fantastic stuff. That's good, isn't it? It's more exciting this way, isn't it? During the last 2 weeks when nothing happened, I prefer this.
I don't know, man. I don't like rumours are alright, aren't they?
Rumours are
It's just signings will just let you down, Joe. The game's gone.
Exactly. Right. Thank you very much for joining us. Looking like
this is it, man.
Very
Thanks
exciting.
Everyone who got involved in the chat.
Yes.
Some great comments, some great chat, lots of positivity as well. It feels like there's a bit of, positive vibes coming
It
back to the
doesn't take
club.
much. That's the thing.
No,
if you get a deal or two done, we are so ready to be positive for next season.
We are. We just, that's how.
Just a bit of optimism. That's
bit
all
of
we want.
optimism. That's what we need. Make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribing. What video have you got coming up?
We've got a video talking about who Ten Hag can revive in the squad. The players in this team that aren't as bad as they look. We're going to go through some of them and work out who Ten Hag can get the best out of next season. Thank you very much for joining us. Like Jay said, hit the subscribe button. We're bringing you all the latest transfer news all summer. We will be on tour in Thailand, in Australia, in Oslo, everywhere. So for all the latest Manchester United news, hit subscribe, and we'll see you in a bit.